Within Shakespeare's studies and literary studies, and outside of those realms, as in other academic disciplines and within the real world, the white other matters. This figure is a covert tool for maintaining what bell hooks describes in Black Looks, Race and Representation, as the dominator imperialist white supremacist capitalist patriarchal culture. Specifically, the white other contrasts with idealized hegemonic whiteness, reinforces popular and evolving stereotypes about racial blackness, and helps reify the imagined superiority of the whiteness defining what early modern scholar Peter Erickson calls white self-fashioning. More significantly, the white other indicates how attitudes toward whiteness are mediated through blackness and black images. Whenever necessary, in order to reinforce the goodness and supremacy of hegemonic whiteness, images of blackness appear as distant or estranged from whiteness through the white other construct. In this book, I argue that such mediation creates racialized boundaries between white people along the lines of superiority, inferiority, in-group, out-group, familiar social and psychological dichotomies of inclusion and exclusion that generate racialized harm. In so doing, the white other serves as proof that the commodification of blackness, often exploited as a dehumanized resource, can occur in a range of everyday locations and in the subtlest ways. In The Origin of Others, Toni Morrison observes that one learns othering not by lecture or instruction, but by example. It is that easy. One learns by example. Morrison adds that racial identification and exclusion did not begin or end with Black people. This reality helps make sense of how and why whiteness is itself a nuanced racial category. As philosopher Michel Foucault suggests in The History of Sexuality, the value of racial whiteness was determined, and still is determined, through exclusionary processes of othering that facilitated the differentiation of people along lines of blood and skin color. By design, this kind of white estrangement occurs at Black people's expense, historically through violence of some kind. In a way, then, one could say that when blackness or blackness collapses into privileged whiteness, it presumably reduces the latter, and thus produces the image or idea of the white other. If it is true that control over images is central to the maintenance of any system of racial domination, then one cannot deny that what audiences receive from Shakespearean drama participates in a racist dynamic that privileges whiteness and devalues blackness. Although racially white, the white other can at times, or always, seem foreign and strange in comparison to whatever is deemed normal. In Shakespeare's tragedy Hamlet, for instance, the hero's emblematic blackness, signified by his inky cloak and accompanying unmanliness, is disturbing. A stark contrast to his deceased father's celebrated valiant whiteness, which I discuss in Chapter 2. Shakespeare creates distance between those white people who conform to social expectations and norms and those who do not. In other words, there are white people who register as more legitimate than others.